Okay, why buy the 35mm f2 if you already own the 18 to 55mm kit lens from Fuji? Here it is on my Fuji X-T20, amazing lens. Anyone who has this lens tells you it's a great all-arounder. Why would you ever get a prime? It doesn't zoom. I think a lot of people don't understand that when they're first getting into photography. I know I didn't. But as soon as you do get a prime, you understand there's a couple of advantages for primes. Number one, they usually open up wider. That means instead of being f4, they could be 1.2, 1.4, which gives you beautiful, dreamy backgrounds. They're smaller, they're usually sharper. There's also something fun about shooting a prime when you can't zoom. When you're forced to zoom with your body, you're forced to set your composition because you're limited by a prime. I think that makes us better photographers. Instead of going through your whole zoom range and seeing what works, you know, you're only walking around with a 23 or a 35. There's something fun about that. And here's what I noticed, because those of you that have been in this channel know that I don't do technical reviews. So I just went through my photographs, and it was interesting. What I found was that the stuff I was taking with my 35mm, I was getting better photographs. And so my conclusion would be it's a better lens. And the images that I was getting from the 18 to 55 at 35, they seem to be mostly like quick grabs. Family, the food, just like us walking around on vacation. And what I realized is I slap on the 35mm f2 if I'm going out to shoot for me, if I'm doing photography for fun. And the 18 to 55 is when I'm being lazy, when I want a full range, when maybe I'm doing video. And so the results are different with the two lenses. And so my recommendation is if you have both in your bag, it's great. Well, if you're looking at one of these, let's talk about some of the differences. Okay, first of all, let's talk about their weight. So the 18 to 55 is about 300 grams, and the 35mm f2 is about 170 grams. At 35mm, their apertures are completely different. f2 is the max versus 3.5. What's the difference that you get 3.5 versus f2? By the way, the zoom lens is a variable aperture lens, which is kind of annoying. What that means is if you zoom to 18, your widest, that gets you to 2.8, which sounds amazing. But if you zoom to 55, if you zoom your lens, it goes to f4. So you can't shoot at 2.8 anymore. If I go to 35, I get 3.5. The 35mm has a better minimum focus distance, so you can get closer to items, but you could do the same thing with the 18 to 55 if you zoom at 55. Build quality is better on the 35mm f2. It feels a little tougher. The kit lens, it must be all those zoom elements in there. Aperture ring. The aperture ring on the 35mm f2 is a joy to use. It has clicks, it has numbers, it's wonderful. The kit lens aperture ring is a never-ending, clickable, you don't know where you are. So I do like when I'm doing photography to look down and see what aperture I have. That's a huge benefit of the 35mm f2. Here you have to look on your screen to see what aperture you are at. Do you need it 100%? No, but it's nice. The 35mm is weather resistant. It's got a little rubber seal, and the 18 to 55 has no rubber seal. I did a video where I went out in the rain with this lens with the Fuji X-T2, which is also weather resistant, and the camera's still fine. So if you're gonna be in weather situations or rain or snow, the 35mm f2. The kit lens has image stabilization, the prime lens does not. So if you're on vacation and you can only bring one, I would bring the 18 to 55. You can do video with it, you can go wide, you can zoom, and you have 35. If you're a little bit of a snob and you want better bokeh, better portrait photographs, I would go with the 35. Okay, sharpness on both these lenses. I took photographs with both these lenses and I started examining their sharpness, yada yada. And I'm finding overall the way we present our photographs is mostly online or smaller prints. And I think any of the lenses in almost any of the camera systems are gonna be fine. No one's gonna notice the fine detail unless you're blowing stuff up really large. So really, like, comparing sharpness in lenses is not really gonna determine if the lens is better or not. Spoiler alert, the 35mm lens is better. It's sharper. You get a little bit more detail if you're 1:1 and if you're looking in there. But if you're looking at the photographs side by side, for the most part, you can't tell. By the way, I apologize if my exposure or white balance is changing in this video. It just happens all the time. When you hit record, clouds come out. It's just, look at that. I just changed just now. Come to accept Murphy's Law. Orange again. All right, so there you have it. Very technical review. The answer is get both. Get both. Get this one if you want a good video lens and an all-arounder, or if you're lazy on vacation and want to walk out the hotel with just one lens. Or if you want to carry along the 35 with that, you can sort of, as you walk around, slap this one on for a little bit more bokeh, a little bit more artsy pictures, better portraits. If it starts raining, you're all set to go. So the answer is both. But if you can only have one, I would say the 18 to 55 or the prime. Yeah, I would say the prime. No, I would say the 18. Well, the prime is so good, but so is the 18 to 55. I don't know. Why don't you guys let me know below if you can only have one. Now I'm orange again. It's nice. No, I'm blue again. 2 seconds later. All right, forget it.